Welcome to World History TV. We're set to embark on an incredible journey through time. From ancient civilizations to modern-day events, we explore stories that have shaped our world. Our rich tapestry of human experience offers countless lessons and fascinating insights. Whether you're a history buff or simply curious about the past, you've come to the right place. Grab your passport to the past. We're delving into defining moments of our history. Together, we'll uncover the events and personalities that made today possible. Join us as we discover the moments that define us on World History TV. Constitutional monarchy and neutrality. Following the decline of the Swedish Empire, Sweden entered an era of political reform and neutrality that redefined its position in Europe and shaped its modern identity. The Age of Liberty, 1719 to 1772, marked the start of constitutional rule, as the Swedish Parliament, or Riksdag, assumed significant control over governance, limiting the powers of the monarchy. This period paved the way for Sweden's enduring policy of neutrality, which emerged in the 19th century and became one of its most defining characteristics in global affairs. The Age of Liberty and Constitutional Monarchy. Limiting monarchical power, after the disastrous end to Sweden's imperial ambitions, there was a strong push to reduce the power of the monarchy. The 1719 and 1720 constitutional reforms effectively established a parliamentary system, transferring executive authority from the king to the Riksdag. This initiated the Age of Liberty, during which political power was shared between two main factions, the Hats and the Caps, who represented different political and economic interests. Rise of parliamentary politics. With the monarch acting mainly as a ceremonial figure, Sweden's parliamentary government experimented with a proto-democratic system, where elected representatives debated policy, international trade, and military alliances. This early constitutional framework allowed for political engagement from Sweden's educated classes and signified a break from centuries of centralized monarchical rule. Gustav III's coup and absolute rule. However, dissatisfaction with factionalism and political stagnation led King Gustav III to stage a coup in 1772, reclaiming considerable royal power and ending the Age of Liberty. He ruled as an enlightened despot, promoting legal reforms and the arts while consolidating control, but his assassination in 1792 halted his absolutist policies. By the early 19th century, Sweden again shifted towards constitutionalism. 19th century and the policy of neutrality. Adoption of neutrality. In the early 19th century, following territorial losses to Russia and Denmark, Sweden adopted a policy of military neutrality to safeguard its security and independence. This policy was formalized after the Napoleonic Wars, during which Sweden refrained from joining major conflicts and instead focused on internal development. Formation of the Swedish-Norwegian Union, 1814 to 1905. In 1814, Sweden entered into a union with Norway, which had been ceded to Sweden by Denmark after the Napoleonic Wars. Though Norway retained considerable autonomy, the union represented Sweden's strategy of seeking security through peaceful alliances rather than territorial expansion. This union lasted until 1905, when Norway peacefully dissolved the union to pursue full independence. Non-involvement in European wars. Throughout the 19th century, Sweden maintained its neutrality in European conflicts, including the Crimean War and later World War I. This commitment to non-involvement allowed Sweden to focus on economic growth, social reforms, and the development of a strong welfare system, setting the stage for its modern, prosperous society. 20th century neutrality and World War II. Commitment to peace in world wars. Sweden continued its policy of neutrality through World War I, benefiting from economic stability and avoiding the devastation experienced by much of Europe. During World War II, however, Sweden's neutrality was tested as it faced pressure from both Axis and Allied powers. While officially neutral, Sweden allowed German troop movements through its territory to avoid occupation but also aided the Allies by sheltering refugees and supporting resistance movements in Norway and Denmark. Humanitarian focus and the welfare state. Sweden's experience during World War II reinforced its dedication to neutrality, leading to post-war policies emphasizing peace, diplomacy, and humanitarian efforts. This period also saw the rise of the Swedish welfare state, as the government invested in social programs, healthcare, and education, positioning Sweden as a leader in social democracy. Modern neutrality and international diplomacy. Role in the United Nations and peace mediation. After World War II, Sweden became an active member of the United Nations, where it has promoted conflict resolution, disarmament, and global development. Swedish diplomats, such as Dag Hammarskjöld and Olof Palme, became notable for their commitment to peace and mediation, furthering Sweden's reputation as a neutral and humanitarian nation. Military non-alignment policy. Sweden maintained a policy of military non-alignment throughout the Cold War, refusing to join NATO or the Warsaw Pact, though it cooperated informally with Western powers. This stance underscored Sweden's preference for autonomy in defense matters, avoiding the polarizing effects of the Cold War on global alliances. Contemporary neutrality and European integration. Post-Cold War adjustments. In recent years, Sweden has reassessed its neutrality in response to changing geopolitical dynamics. While still committed to peace, Sweden joined the European Union in 1995, signaling a willingness to participate in broader European cooperation. Though not a NATO member, Sweden has collaborated with NATO on joint exercises and peacekeeping missions, balancing its neutrality with practical security measures. Ongoing commitment to global peace initiatives. Sweden continues to be a strong advocate for peace, human rights, and environmental sustainability on the international stage. Its contributions to peacekeeping, refugee aid, and climate action highlight its commitment to neutrality, not as isolation but as active engagement in promoting global stability.